Hello, today we're going to be looking at compound interest. So this is just going to be an introduction to the idea of compound interest and how it's different from simple interest. So just a reminder, interest is a fee or reward paid for the borrowing or the investing of money. So if you borrow money, you pay a fee. If you invest money, you get a reward. That's what interest is. Now we've had a good look at simple interest over the past few videos, but we're going to look at compound interest moving forward. Now, simple and compound interest are quite different in nature. Alrighty, I want to show you the difference between simple and compound interest. So we're going to look at a simple example here. If I invest $100 into my bank account at 10% interest per year, with interest being calculated only once per year, this is what it looks like for simple interest. I start with $100, and the next year I have $110. After another year, it's $120, and then $130, and so on. Now you'll notice that for every year, it is adding $10 interest on. That's because 10% of 100 is $10. Now you'll notice the amount of interest does not change each year. It stays the same. It is always adding $10. That is the nature of simple interest. It doesn't change over time. The interest remains the same for every year. But if I take the exact same investment of $100 at 10% per annum and put it in a compound interest account, you'll notice something different about the values. After the first year, it's $110, but then in the next year, it's $121 instead of $120. Then it's $133.10 instead of $130. And if we actually look at the differences here, it starts off the same, but it looks like the interest amounts are getting bigger and bigger over time. And this is because the amount of interest is increasing each year. So with simple interest, the amount of interest is always the same. That's why it's simple. But with compound interest, it looks like our interest is increasing more and more as we go along. So to make it super clear, with simple interest, the amount of interest does not change each year. But with compound interest, the interest you earn each year is added onto the principal before the next interest calculation. So what that means is any interest you are earning is also earning interest itself. And that's why it went up by $10 and then $11, and it kept creeping up slightly more each time because that interest was also earning interest. Now, I'm going to show you a very long and tedious way of showing how compound interest works. I will show you a much faster way in the future, but for now, this is a good starting point. So John has invested $2,000 into a bank account. The bank account earns compound interest at 5% per annum, and interest is paid once at the end of the year. So how much would John have in total after 4 years? Now the first thing I'm going to do is set up a nice little table like this, okay? It's probably the easiest way to see what's going on. So at the very start of the first year, he should have $2,000, okay? Because that's the money he put in. Now 5% of 2,000, well 10% would be 200, so half of that would be 5%, which is 100. So he'll earn $100 interest for this first year. Now to find the total amount of money he has, we'll take our principal, add the interest to get the new balance, which is $2,100. So at the end of the first year, this is how much money he has in his bank account. Now here's the really important bit. The amount of money you end the year with will be the exact same as what you start the year with. So now our principal has changed to $2,100. If we calculate 5% of $2,100, we'll get $105. Now if we add these two numbers together, we'll start to get $2,205. This becomes the principal for the next year. Then we do our 5% calculation again, and then we add that on. Carry it forward. Find 5% of that, here we go, and then we end up with our final balance at the end. Now please note, because the interest is earning interest, we can see this interest column is not the same number, it's increasing as we go along. So, to answer our question for John, he now has $2,431.01 total in his bank account after 4 years. Now, I think we can all agree that's a bit tedious, but this is how compound interest works. You earn interest, that interest gets added onto the principal for the next period, and then it gets calculated again. All right, just to summarize everything we looked at. So simple interest, the interest does not change between years. You're always earning the same amount. With compound interest, the interest is added on to the principal, and then the interest is recalculated for the next period. And we can use a table to calculate compound interest over a period of time. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions at all, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. We will look at a formula shortly, which will make this process way faster than using a table, but hopefully the idea makes sense. Have an awesome day.